Chief Technologist at MIRealSource. This is Colleen DeLange. She's one of our agent instructors. And what we're going to do today is, this is not going to be a class. What we're going to do is talk about what's coming and what to expect over the course of the next month. So in other words, we're going to be going through this transformation of MLS systems. And what I'm going to talk about is really the benefits, what you're going to inherit on this this transformation or this upgrade, and all of these enhancements that are going to come with this upgrade. And then I'm going to give you a homework assignment before you leave. So, and I'll remind you about that homework assignment repeatedly in both MLS systems. So, so let's get started.
You lost him at homework. I just wanted
Did you? Why do I get a frown when I always get a frown for that, but it shouldn't be too bad. All right, just the agenda, just a little overview about what we're talking about here is a conversion from your current version of Paragon to this new and improved Paragon, and we'll go into what the relationship is and what are the benefits of this new version of Paragon, as well as what to expect, important dates, how to prepare, and then we'll go into just a little overview of education and training, which is a big part of what we're bringing here from MIRealSource, is not only the platform, all of these integrations, all of this stuff, and I'll go into the details of that, but just to let you know, this is what we're doing. You're going to be moving from your version of Paragon to MIRealSource version of Paragon. Just a reminder, Paragon is the number rated MLS system in the country. And one of the reasons is what we're able to do with it. We can integrate with more products than any other version of Paragon, especially in the state of Michigan. So, and I'll go into those details as well. But what I am going to discuss as well, part of this conversion, is running parallel, which starts next week. I'll go into the details of that. That means you're going to be able to log into that system. You're going to be able to get your saved searches, all of that. You'll have your contacts. Again, I'll go into the details of that. So next slide. All right, just a little background on what we are, and I may have gone through this at one of the previous events that I was at, but we've been vendoring other MLSs and associations for over 10 years. So we've gotten good at this. Everyone brings its unique challenges. So I think we're in a position to provide you probably the easiest transition. And it helps that we've already come out here to help educate your members on how to use Paragon. Now, how many here have attended a Paragon class from MIRealSource? Okay, good. I see a lot of hands. That's good. That helps. That and all of those features that you learn in that class, they're going to be available in this version of Paragon as well. So that will definitely be to your benefit. The other thing to note is that same level of autonomy, what you see today in your Paragon, the e-car logo, the communication in the center, the windows that pop up, that's going to stay e-car. That's still your MLS system. So it's important to note that you're not giving up anything. You're only going to be gaining all of these features. So while you'll get your branding, your association MLS will still exist. You'll have controls of fields. You'll have control of the communication. You'll even have your levels of rules. So there's certain requirements that you have that maybe some other MLSs in the GLR they don't need. Or you might require certain room sizes and so on. So you have that level of control. Plus, we provide support in addition to that. Our support exists 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So you can call in. You can always call Jason as well. So that option is available. But getting through this, you'll have multiple avenues of communicating for support. Just a reminder of the product line that we're bringing here. You already have Paragon, Showing Time. This is something new that you'll be getting, and I'll talk about these coming soon, HomeSnap Pro Premium. You have the Pro version, but you don't have the Premium. And you'll get that post-cutover. And what that'll mean is you'll have access to editing your listings, access to Paragon saved searches and your contacts. So that's definitely a difference. Another one is Cloud CMA. That's going to be another product. Cloud, hugely popular. Any cloud users in here? Oh, really? Not one? Okay. Well, usually there's a brokerage that offers that, but soon you'll be getting that MLS wide, and you'll find out why. It's incredibly easy, and it looks beautiful. The reports are really easy. And one of the reasons is, you know how many times we hear, I've got to meet a client in 15 minutes, and I need to create a CMA. Why don't we just call that the 15-minute drill, and just use Cloud CMA. You can have that report done in less than 5 minutes. Grab your comparables and you throw it right into Cloud from Paragon. It's very easy. Instanet, you currently have Instanet, so I'll have some details about that, how that's going to change. P4B Lite, that's a product for brokers. Zip form, any zip form? I don't think you guys use that up here. Okay. BSAA. Anyone familiar with BSAA? Okay. That integration that you have today for Genesee County, that'll be available in this other Paragon, and it'll be available beginning the 28th. So next week, when you start logging in, that will be there. You can click on the link. It'll take you right to the property details in BSAA for Genesee County. Realist. We had some changes with Realist. We've added additional counties. We're going to be adding even more counties. So that's going to continue to grow, especially as we grow too. Single property website. I'll have more info about that. What it is just a dedicated website for your listing. It allows you to market it across social media, other websites. It allows you to market your property. Plus, you can capture those in this other product called List Track. And that tracks your property across the internet. That includes Zillow, Realtor.com, IDX websites, the MLS system, HomeSnap, everything. In one place you can see how many views, how much attention that property has gotten. RPR, deep linking is there. Mortgage calculators. This is one that I keep forgetting about it, but I'm glad I noted it there. It's something that we've integrated, and you'll find that's a common theme with all of the products that we introduce. They integrate within Paragon. Paragon is the hub, and everything else kind of connects there because that's really where the data sits. And that calculator will integrate in a way where, did we add it to?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go into details on that, how it integrates, it auto-pops, and everything.
And a lot of this we're going to show you today.
Yeah, I'm going to go
through
these.
I'm a kind of a visual person as an agent, so we'll actually take a look at a lot of these things.
I like screenshots. I think it's easier.
He's a tech person, not an agent. That's the difference.
But I still like pictures. So I'm going to go through these line by line across MLS sell-side listings. You know, that has to do with properly reporting, not reporting a non-member. You can actually report all members in the GLR. So if you close the listing in another MLS, or vice versa, you're closing a listing for an agent that exists in another MLS, you can accurately close that. And it's important. As an agent, you want accurate statistics, and you want to be able to pull your an accurate production list.
You guys see that a lot right now where it says non-member, and you don't get credit for that. You want credit for those, so they should be able to pick right from your name and give you the proper credit for that sale.
Okay, and I'll also go into changes with the associated documents. Huge benefits with the way that we currently store documents as opposed to the way you currently do that. So Instanet, Transaction Desk, there's a way to upload listings in there in our system from what you currently have. Tax autofill, we had to temporarily remove that from your current system. That will be available with the additional counties in this new MLS system. And again, the BSAA, the deep linking for Genesee County, that will be there the next time, as soon as you log into the new system. HomeSnap and the single property websites. Again, that theme of integration, it applies to these too. Home Snap reports in these single property, they're all integrated into Paragon. You know those quick action links? Again, I'll go into detail. Those are all available within all of the agent reports. Here's a big one. All Paragon reports are multi-class. Now what that means is if you do a search for a client that is interested in not only residential properties but just vacant land, you're able to look at that in one selected report. Most agents, they only have maybe 3 to 4 reports. A couple of agent reports and a couple of client reports. That's really all you need. You drag those up into your favorites and that's it. Well, one thing I noticed in your system is there is a difference between the vacant land reports and the residential reports. You won't have that problem. If you pick a report that you really like, it's available for all classes, just that one report. You don't have to toggle between reports. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of browse a search that you've pulled up for maybe a particular client that crosses classes like that. And listing deduplication. What we've done is we've written an algorithm that identifies duplicate listings that come from other MLSs. Now, that happens. They're out there. Agents continue to dual enter, even though the data is available in both systems. And I'll go into that in a little more detail. But back to the cross MLS sell-side listing, there's really no reason to see this in the new MLS. What this will provide is a full access to the roster of agents in the GLR. It'll be like 26,000 agents. That's 3/4 of the state that's in the GLR that you can accurately report. And the same goes with your production. They can do the same in the other MLSs, and that will reflect back into this new MLS system. Associated documents. Now, one of the big differences that we have in our transaction button and this integration piece that we have within Paragon is when you click on that button, it will automatically pull those disclosures associated with that listing into that new transaction. So if you have a client you're trying to make, you want to make an offer on, currently what you have to do is download those documents and then upload them into Transaction Desk. Well, you don't have to do that now. You just click on that one button and it auto pops and it brings over all disclosures and associated documents automatically into that transaction. So it enters the address, all the irrelevant information, the list agent, your information, all of the agency's information, the property details, and the disclosures are automatically in there. So all you have to do is just add the client.
Send it up for signatures. The nice thing is you don't have to find those. They're right in the transaction. When you're ready to have everything signed, they're right there. You don't have to go get them from another place.
Okay. The other thing in Instat and Transaction Desk is listing upload. What this allows you to do is to
break up and go live.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Colleen's going to show you because this is one that she personally uses. A lot of agents do because they really like the listing data sheet. They think it's a lot easier to enter a listing in this way and upload it into the MLS system.
This takes me half the amount of time. The reason I like this data sheet is one, it's online, I have it wherever I am. I can go in, I can fill out all the required information, and as I start typing, it will autofill for me. Then when I have all the information, all I have to do is click Upload Listing. And basically what it does now is it creates a partial listing right in Paragon for me. So I'm going to go back to Listings, I'm going to go back to Maintain My Partials. Now all I have to do is go in and add my photos and hit Save, and my transaction will, my listing will be live. Let me find my Wisteria, it's right here. So I'm pushing all that information. It's basically making that listing for me in Paragon. Now I've got all the information. Instead of going through this screen field by field and filling it out this way, for me as an agent, it's much easier to simply use this data sheet. Now I can go in, add my photos, and then hit Save. Another thing about this data sheet within Instanet that I really like is the features. You know how in Paragon you have to expand the features and check off what you're looking for? Here, as you can see, all of the features are open. All I have to do is simply check off the ones in my view, hit that upload, and now everything is sent over for me. It takes me literally half the amount of time to enter a listing this way. Plus, in Instanet, it will actually pull from the information for the property. It'll pull from MIRealSource, so it's bringing in that tax information. It'll even fill out who the sellers of record are in the transaction. So it fills out currently about 30 fields that I don't have to manually go in and type. Yes, you do want to check them. You do want to make sure they're accurate, but it's nice when I don't have to rekey a lengthy legal description and all of that stuff. So, sorry, I'll go back to your slides now. I just thought since I was right there.
No, that's good. I could not have said it better myself. So, one of the other things to consider is there are other MLSs that offer that upload, and they go to a live listing. The importance of this being a partial is the listing still needs to be staged. In other words, it still needs photos, it still needs documents. You don't want this going out to the world. And now what that means is if you don't have photos on that listing in the next 2 minutes, or minute for that matter, it could be out on the internet. Your client is seeing this with no photos. That would be extremely disappointing. So this allows you to stage it the way you're supposed to as a partial, which is the way it should be. Not all MLS systems do that, but ours does. It allows you to stage it. And that's important because photo should already be in there. When you hit save, that photo or that listing is complete, and then at that point it's marketed to the world. So in 15 minutes it's gone. It's already out there. That's what you're going to see. And in some cases, especially with Zillow, they might update within 15 minutes, or they might pull in new listings within 15 minutes. But the photos, because of the overhead of drawing photos, they reserve that only on the new listings immediately. Any updates or changes, that could take hours. In some sites, it might take 24 hours. So you want it right at that point when you submit a listing. So
it makes them happy sellers when they see, their home on listing and it's a whole day, or on Zillow, and it's been a whole day and they have no photos.
Yeah.
Not usually a good thing.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So. Okay, so in addition to adding Realist and Paragon tax autofill, you'll see we've added even more counties. So and these will continue to grow as the geographic footprint just grows with us and in the need. But the autofill will provide that, and I don't know if the next slide covers. Yeah. One thing that you don't have currently in Instanet is the autofill for Realist and Transaction Desk. So currently you just have eCar. In other words, it's got to be a listing record. Well, in our version of Realist, or in our version of Transaction Desk, Instanet, you could pull from either the MLS or Realist. So if it's never been listed, I got nothing to go with. But at least I could pull from Realist to auto-populate legal, property ID, those essential things that are necessary.
Because as an agent, I'm never going to want to trust that someone else put that listing in right to copy that information. I'd much rather go to the tax record and pull that information in, where I'm pulling in that actual seller's name, I'm pulling in the legal description. I'd much rather have a more trusted source. And so all you literally have to do is click and put in 3 fields: the county, the street address, the numerical street address, and then the street name. If you put those 3 things in, it'll go out and search that record, and it will even show you a little excerpt of what it's going to fill in for you. And right now, like I said, it pulls in a tremendous amount of fields that I don't have to fill out when I'm starting a new listing.
Okay, the BSAA link. This is Colleen's favorite icon that we've created.
It looks like a garbage can. When I first saw it, I'm like, is this how you delete a listing? What does this mean? It's supposed to be a government pillar, he keeps saying, but it looks like a garbage can to me. So
okay.
he's working on making that a little longer so it actually looks like a government pillar.
One of these days. But one thing I've noticed is you've definitely benefited by that deep linking in your current version of Paragon. And you'll have that same function in here. Click on the quick action link and it'll take you to the property details within BSAA.
Does anybody use that? Has anybody tried it out?
I've used it for a long time, but even before we get it here. But I love it a lot better information.
And remember, Genesee County's free for you guys, so when you click on that, you know, I know it's only $2 here and there, but it all adds up at the end of the year, and you're figuring out how much you've spent, so now you can actually have those.
Yeah, it's
Genesee
definitely
County.
more streamlined. You can just click on it, you get the details. You don't have to go through the request a record or anything like that. So that's been definitely a huge improvement.
Will that be uploading at any time that where I have a choice of using Realist or BSAA? Because I like that one.
That one we're working on right now.
I feel like I heard that question this morning.
Yeah, we did.
Last year.
It's funny. It's funny.
Great minds think alike. I think there's a trend to that question.
Yes. Yeah, that's a work in progress. But what we built right now wasn't done before. So this is a huge leap. So I think, you know, like I said, all I can comment on is we're working on it. So it's just a communication with BSAA, and if they're willing to just return those. But, you know, I hope to have some kind of answer or direction probably in the next few months as to how we can return that data. But I think that would be a huge benefit, though. All right.
Another question.
Yes.
When you're putting in the listing and it auto-populates from another listing, then you go in, do you still measure all the rooms to see if they're correct or what?
I'm going to be honest, I don't like to start a new listing as an agent from what's in the MLS. I always like to go to the tax record to pull it in from there, because that'll give me the legal description, that will give me the owners of record. I don't like to do it that way, simply because I'm trusting someone else's information is right.
You're not getting any information from the tax records.
Actually, you will once we make this switch over. It now fills out, I think it's 25 fields of my listing. So you don't yet, you're right. But coming,
Yeah, you're not going to get room dimensions.
Room dimensions you're not going to get.
The assessors don't put, if they don't put the assessor doesn't put it in, you're not getting it. Yeah.
And it's square footage, you're not going to get that. So, but what I want is I want the property record, and I'd rather do all my own measuring personally, because then I know it's right. I don't want to trust that someone else didn't maybe,
So
let's
if it populates it, then you have to correct it by measuring.
well, what populates from the record for when you're going from the tax record is not the room sizes or the square footage.
Right.
So if you're pulling it in from someone else's listing, which, you know, I guess they.
I wouldn't trust that.
I would not ever
But-
do that personally, but
But
just
if you're
don't think
talking
it's a
to
good idea.
me, there's really only one source, and that's the municipality. It's not necessarily Realist. It's not an MLS that calls it PRD. It's BSAA, or you drive there, or you go to the municipal website, and that's the official source. That's the only thing that anyone would recognize as correct or the official source of the data. Anything else, it's not going to count. And that's why I'm sure a lot of you rely on BSAA. If it's in BSAA like that, then that's what the actual assessor reported as information. Not what's necessarily in Realist, not what Realist tries to make a copy of that, and you know the frequency, they do their best, but as you know, it can be behind. It might not be accurate. So your best source, if you get a listing, your best source really is BSAA. You got a listing. Verify that the information is correct. It's something I like to harp on. You know, when you're looking at somebody else's property, you know, you hope that the information is correct.
Well, and it's the only one that will stand up in a court of law. Should you have a legal dispute, that's the one you've got to take. A judge will not look at Realist. They won't look at the others. They will look at BSAA though.
Yeah, I had a friend that worked in an assessor's office, and he would have people come in with another MLS's PRD and try to dispute what was in there, and they're like, I don't know what that is, and they go, the PRD or the assessors say this, and it was different than what was actually in the assessor's file or in BSAA, and they were arguing with the assessor which one was right, and it's like, well, there's only one in this case, and it's the assessor's files, which is BSAA, so we can't handle it. It's just something to keep in mind. Okay, I forgot to swap those. Couple of products that we integrated.
What was
like
that other thing we couldn't remember?
Yeah, I know. Couple of products that we integrated within Paragon, and like I said, again, that theme is integration. Integration, integration. Integration is something that we're really big on every product that we introduce. And HomeSnap and the single property website are no exceptions. You can see the quick action links go right to those properties. So with the single property website, not only will the single property website inform you it's time to market your property or ask you if you want to market it, but you can click to it right within Paragon and then you could push it from there. And the same goes with HomeSnap. All of those are directly available within Paragon as well.
Is BSNA then, is it available to upload now? Or that's coming? I'm not clear on what you said to me.
No,
I'm not catching it.
Yeah, no,
Realist, I know I can go to Realist.
No. You have to go to BSNA separately, verify the information, and then there would be your listing entry. So verify your info at BSNA and then enter. And enter it at your where you would prefer to enter your listing, either in Paragon listing entry or soon to be in Instanet. But that's independent. It's not going to auto pop.
Can I say what I do?
Well, I start through Instanet. I start my listings through Instanet.
That's fine.
Right.
I can pull Realist information.
Right.
I'm asking you, BSNA at this point cannot be
No.
pulled.
No.
Not yet.
That's what I didn't.
So right
quite-
now, what I would suggest is pull the BSNA record, still do it through Realist, but then you can double check it. So what should be pulling should be accurate, but I like to have the BSNA record so as it's pulling, I can actually check it and make sure it's correct.
Okay.
Hopefully down the line, that is
Yeah.
what everybody wants. That's
Something coming, but.
something coming.
Okay, that's what I didn't quite, I wasn't clear on what auto popped and what didn't.
Yeah,
Okay,
right
thank you.
now it's still, I would do
Yeah.
it both ways.
Okay, thank you.
Right now with our current Paragon system, we only pull like 3 or 4 bits of information, like address, legal description, maybe the year. But on the new one, I noticed that it pulls in a lot more. I mean, it pulls in the taxes, the year of the taxes, all that stuff
Correct.
on the
Yep.
new system.
It pulls in even the seller that is listed there, so I listed a husband and wife just 2 days ago, pulled both of their names in and even puts them in the seller category, so when you're using Authentisign, it knows where the seller should sign, it pre-tags it for you, there's a whole lot it can do for you.
Yeah, but my only point was just verify the information. You're still responsible for it. You can't say, well, Realist said, no, that's not an excuse. Just verify the information, and one of the best sources is BSNA. And that was really just the point that I was trying to make.
Okay.
All right, next slide.
And I'll keep hounding Brian to get BSNA done that much quicker, because I really want it as an agent.
Hey, they don't exactly move too fast. We're lucky to get what we got right now. Okay, the Paragon reports are multi-class reports. So as you can see here, same report for residential, vacant land, commercial, multifamily. And these are e-car listings, as you can see. They're just, so you're able to pull it up in just a single report. You don't have to toggle between multiple reports depending on what the property class is. Pick your favorite reports, put it into favorites, and you're good to go.
And I heard in teaching a lot of the classes out here, a lot of people were saying, I would like one report with everything on it. I want it to be one page with all the information I need, and I know that right now the favorite report out here seems to be 2 pages, which means you have to print it in 2, it gets emailed in 2 pages. What we'll make sure that you get is that 1-page report. It will have all the stuff you need on 1 page. If you like it, you can throw it right into your favorites, and it will always be there. So that'll be your report that you can choose really quickly.
Yep, and that's actually, that was the default report. It's 1 page. We try to cram as much on it that is agent relevant as possible. So it is 1 page per listing. That's it. It's fixed. So that it should have everything you need right on that 1-page report. Okay, listing deduplication. This has been a problem ever since data sharing started. We have dual members that continue to enter in both systems. No matter how much that frustrates me, I don't think it's going to completely go away, but it is declining, but it's still there. And the side effect of that is, for those of you that have run into duplicate listings is the confusion that it creates. Not only do you get notified of these two listings, but your client does too. They get two of the same listings. And that's a little frustrating. And sometimes they might not always match because one is in the middle being changed and the other is... So what we've done is automate this whole process of deduplication. So it beats that confusion. You never see it in the MLS system, and it never goes out to your client. In addition to that, it doesn't skew the statistics. So those are three things that really can impact your MLS system today, and which it sounds like they are, is statistically, it confuses the agent and it confuses the clients based on these two. Yes?
And well, just one that I had, it was a duplicate, and it only had the seller's disclosure form and the information attached to one of the MLSs. So are they discriminating within the system to make sure that if there's something in Realist that it stays with?
Well, I can't excuse, really, if you enter a listing, you're required to upload documents associated with that listing. So if you dual enter, then you really need to be putting that in both listings. So if they decide to put one over the other, you know, that's a different discussion.
Okay.
So my purpose here is accurate data. So what I want to know is there's not two properties with that address for sale, there's only one. And that should not be something that would impact your workflow or you have to explain to your client or anything like that. So what we do is automatically do that. And how we do that is what we use are a level of standards that are nationally recognized. So this is how we identify a property. This is how I look at a property. I don't really look at it by the address. I look at it how institutions identify this property. This is a federal identifier, and that is the local parcel ID. So based on that, that makes it a property. Now there's other factors like the contract dates that make it a listing, and that's how we identify a duplicate. And the system catches that on the import, so it doesn't make it into your search, it doesn't make it into your client's prospects, and that's really the whole point. As good as it is, it might not be 100%. I like to say we're close to 99%. So if you were to see a duplicate, you can report it and then we can take care of it immediately. But I'm proud to say that it works quite well. So well, nobody's complained. So that's really the whole point, is the fact that we're able to get rid of these duplicates and you're able to do, work as normal without having to filter through what are duplicates. And that could be definitely frustrating. So any questions? Any other questions on that? Because I don't know how that impacts you, but it seems like every agents have run into these duplicate listings and they're frustrated by that.
Are you guys seeing a lot of that?
Not as much anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely declined.
Good.
But the thing is, when we started data sharing, especially with RealComp, I knew this was going to be a problem. We had to write this algorithm and get it in place. We had a lot of dual members and a lot of people that were uncertain. I know you got a number in yours too, and it's good to see it decline because to me, I think that's more confidence in data sharing. Is data sharing perfect? No. But is it better? Yes. And I can assure you that the data sharing that we have built has gone from a 2.5-hour latency down to less than an hour, and in some cases less than a half an hour. So, and that's 2 hops. It's got to go from that entered system into the GLR and then down into your neighboring system. So where we used to get calls about, I don't see that listing, well, because your client was already notified on Zillow in 15 minutes, and it would take up to 2 hours for that listing to get there. That's not a problem anymore. By the time the agent gets in front of a computer, it's within that window period that the listing has already migrated. So it really has become a non-issue in our system. I'm not sure if you still have that same latency in yours. I can't
It's getting
say.
faster and faster and
Yeah.
faster. It's the Reader's Digest
Yeah.
version.
And just, just for full disclosure here, this is a work in progress. To me, I think that we should be working on faster and faster and faster. As long as it gets to Zillow in 15 minutes, that's what we need to compete with. We need to make sure that the agents get these listings first. Everyone's going to get them. Just make sure you get them in a timely manner where you're able to do your job. You're able to explain to your client the details of this property, or you don't have to wait. So that's really the motivation here. But we've made huge strides. Okay, Paragon, the coming soon list. And I already discussed this, Cloud CMA, how easy Cloud CMA is. How many here have actually done a CMA in Paragon? Just a few. I don't think it's so bad.
It's a little painful. I do not love it, I'm going to be honest. I
Yeah.
love Cloud, but I do not love
But again, what I hear a lot is the 15-minute drill. I gotta meet a client, 15 minutes.
I want it to look nice and
Yeah.
be easy to present, and I want them to understand it better.
It's gonna take me 12 minutes to drive there, so how am I gonna get this report done at Cloud CMA? So that's definitely very easy, and it's easily one of the nicest looking reports in the industry. So HomeSnap Pro Premium, I think Colleen's going to give you a little preview of that. I don't know if we've done that in some of the classes. Again, the difference being with the Premium, once you're on our platform, is you'll be able to access your saved searches, your contacts, and you'll be able to do listing maintenance. Now, you're not going to be able to edit every single field, but it is nice that you're able to pen to listing right then and there. Especially a hot listing, and Colleen can speak to this. You want to stop the offers coming in. You've got an accepted offer. We're moving forward. It's going into a pending status. So I want to stop the showings, offers at this point. We've got an accepted offer. All I have is my phone. I don't want to have to go back to a computer just to pen this listing. I can just do it simply on my phone. Or if I needed to edit some remarks, or the agent remarks, you can easily do that right on your phone.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
And my favorite feature that you guys will have now because of the associated docs, last weekend I was showing a client homes and they said, hey, how old is the roof? Well, we're at the home. In HomeSnap, when you walk up to that home, it is actually popped up on your phone because it's using your phone's GPS to know where you are. But the nice thing is it also will pop up the seller's disclosure and the lead-based paint document. So right on my phone, I can see how old the roof is, and you have a share button. So I was able to even share it to their phone so that they could go through it as well. So these are features that Brian has done a great job of bringing you in the Premium that you won't have now.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we have to store our associated documents within Paragon and not Instanet. It gives us capabilities like this. Currently, MLSs that do have their documents in Instanet, they can't do that. So once you're, and one of the other features, like I mentioned, was the automatic move or auto upload of the associated documents on a purchase side quick action link. That is possible because those documents are in Paragon. And this is the same reason. You're able to get to those documents easily within the app, simply because they're uploaded within Paragon. And I'll go through the details of what you'll need to do with that, but let me talk about market stats. Anyone familiar with market stats? Okay. Statistical program that we actually incorporate in some of our specialized classes like marketing. And what it does is it provides statistics across either an area, even a mapped area, certain demographics. But one thing you'll notice once you get this in the new platform is every property has a market stats link. And what that does is it'll tell you everything about the market that property exists in. And what you could do with some of these statistics is you could share them on social media. They're dynamic, they'll automatically update, they're interactive. very cool stuff that you're able to do with statistics, and very easy to do. So it's ways for you to market really specifically in maybe a certain market where, you know, the prices are going up, it's a good time to sell. You know, it's just something to aid in lead capture, and like I said, we have specialized classes in that.
Can I say one thing on that?
Yep.
Market Stats also has fast stats where you can just click on the city name and it will tell you, it'll give you the stats from last year to this year. So in my CMA, you can actually save it. You can save it right as part of your CMA. So if you're educating the seller on, hey, you know, we're seeing, you know, multiple offers, we're seeing the price a little bit higher, I actually put that as my second page right in cloud, because you can just save it right to your CMA. It really makes a great presentation so they understand the market in their area. So, and it's easy, it's 2 clicks.
Yep,
So.
yeah, extremely easy. That's and it's integrated. Everything's integrated. So
It's like your
I said,
favorite word.
It is. You know, not all integrations are the same, but it's good to see that, you know, you don't need a separate login and password for any of these. Everything is completely accessible from within Paragon. Mortgage calculators. That is what I had mentioned earlier about the auto-populating. It'll auto-pop the price, the HOA, the taxes, all of that information will be populated in, and you can determine what kind of loan it is, land contract with a balloon, or just a standard amortized report. You have all of that accessible on each listing. So you'll see the green dollar sign. You click on it, it pulls everything into this calculator, and you can print it out. You can give it to your client that way. You can work it or add variables like interest rates and as you choose, and generate the report for whatever you would need it for on any single property within Paragon. Single property websites, again, this is another one that's coming. Just a great way to market your property, market you as an agent. And then in the bottom of these reports, it shows all of your other properties with links to those. Properties that you've recently sold or either pending. All of that, it's really just a great way to market a property. And back to this one on ListTrack, all of that information is captured into ListTrack as well. So that is a cool program that really tells you everything. Where is this property being seen? One thing I get a question about quite a bit is, and this is really the agent getting asked by the client, where is my property going to be? Where is my listing going to be on the internet? And usually the agents are like, I don't know, Zillow? Zillow, maybe your brokerage site, your site, and then it kind of ends there, other than in the MLS. If you look at this, it will give you a nice list and with views, hits, all of that, and a nice report that you can give to a client. So it's just another way to show a client, and there's a lot of ways to do this with the products that we have. Just a way to show them how you're doing your job. And you can actually set it up in ListTrack to periodically send them notifications that, hey, this week's hits were this, and this, on this site, that site. It's a great way, just like prospecting, that it does the work for you. Your job is to go out, get some more clients. Let the software do the work once you've done that. I mean, your expertise is still needed. It's not going to be replaced.
Did you want to show them the listing property website? I'm a visual person, so it usually helps me when I can see it. And by the way, you'll find all of these things as they become available right under your resources in Paragon. Think of resources as kind of like your toolbox. And once you put your listing into Paragon, what Brian was saying, see how many eyeballs? You can track how many eyeballs your listings are getting. So it shows me how many hits I had from Zillow, Trulia. So if I go to my listings, let's say I just took a new listing and I want to go ahead and promote it. It gives me a way to promote it by simply clicking on the link. And on the mobile view, when they're looking at it, it looks even better. But if I go down to the bottom, I'm not promoting some other company or some other agent. I'm promoting just me, my listings, and my information. Here's all the details. And when I'm ready to go ahead and share this, I can go ahead and share it right to Facebook right from here. So, can I leave off anything?
Yep.
There's also some call capture that we used to all pay for call capture. There's actually a texting number, and I was able to just double dip a property. I was pulling out of the sub, and I do a very kind of old-fashioned generic flyer with just like a front photo and no price. And so it says on my flyer, if you want more information or to know the price, simply text this number. They text it, I immediately get their cell phone. Now I can go ahead and I can say, happen to be in the area, would you like to see this home? Which I did, and it was the perfect home for them, so we got right in there and we were able to write it up. So you have this number, this texting number, that you can include in your marketing, your social media, and things like that as well. All right, now did I leave anything off? Sorry to keep interrupting. I thought since we're right
No,
there.
that's good. That's what we're, instead of coming back to this, we can kind of review it. In the morning, by the way, I flew through this stuff. I don't know if I flew through it. And then we kind of came back to show you. Just thought it would make a little more sense to kind of do this on the fly. A couple of other products that we developed. Paragon for brokers. That's a broker product. It allows a broker to communicate a little bit better with their agents, as well as some branding. And Paragon for Teams, which is something that we're developing. This is coming soon, that's why I have a beta. So we're still working on that. Statistically, one thing we get asked about Teams is, they really want to know what the production is. The hard part of Teams is, who's your team? How's your team work? All of that. Those complexities are kind of a hard target, but we're able to start generating some simpler reports on production for a team. So that's something that would be coming. Great Lakes Repository. Currently you're looking at this data, and that's really not going to change. You're going to have access to all of the GLR data in the new system just like you do today. One thing to note is any new, potentially new additions to the GLR, could be west side of the state, could be the northern part of the state. There's talk, especially now that sharing data has really become a popular thing to do. I won't be surprised if this list is expanded before the end of the year.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. He's telling you there's more people coming.
Yeah, there's talk right now, but again, you'll get all of that as well as moving forward. So I just want to assure you, as the GLR grows, you inherit that as well. So that's something that you'll continue to get, is the GLR data. Okay, now these are the important dates. You don't have to write these down because I'm going to be a little bit of a nuisance to the point where I'm going to pester you about reminders, what these dates are. If you log into the new system, which will begin Monday, on the 28th, you're going to see this same thing. And you're going to start getting reminders from me like, hey, we got to talk about exporting your saved searches and all of this stuff, and I'm going to go through that shortly. But what this means right now, and this is what I want you to be concerned about right now, because that's what this event is about. It's about parallel. What that means is you're going to continue business as usual in your current MLS system. However, now you have access to the new MLS system. All those new bells and whistles, a lot of that stuff that we talked about is coming down here, but we want you to be aware of them now, because there's a whole point of this change. And there's a little bit of a pain, a struggle that you're going to have to deal with, which personally I don't think it's going to be that bad, but it's dealing with your saved searches, and I'll go through that again shortly. But what parallel means is I need you to go in there, look around, make sure you can log in, and then we're going to talk about read-only. What that means is from this period to here, you're going to do business as usual in your standard MLS system, but you'll have access to the new one, read-only. In other words, you're not going to enter or add any listings. You're not going to have any of that access. But you'll be able to verify data, and you'll be able to see your saved searches for a reason. Until this point, now you're not going to be adding, you'll still have access to any saved searches at this point and a read-only, but you're not going to be entering any listings or editing any listings, because this is a weekend right here. And that's where we're going to convert the last year data and finally upgrade it to the new platform on February 25th. But I don't want you to be too focused on this, because this is what I'm concerned about. So the next slide.
But don't log in on February 24th and try it out for the first
No,
time, right?
no, I want you to start logging in Monday. Okay, now, some things to be aware of, and this is what I was confused about is my order on this, but whatever. Some of the fields are a little bit different, and I am going to have Colleen open up the browser, so we're just going to talk about some of these little nuances between Paragon, your eCar Paragon and MIRealSource Paragon. The compensation, you'll see in ours, we actually have it broken apart. SA, BA, and NA, so sub-agent, buyer's agent, and non-agent, or transaction coordinator. Now, sub-agent, that's under the state definition, that's somebody that represents the seller. This is the only buyer here. So just bear that in mind, that's what that means. And what our definitions are, or non-agency, is what the state calls them. I think a lot of associations, which is commonly known as transaction coordinators, are down here. And if you look at it, it's pretty straightforward. It's a yes-no. In other words, you're committing to offering up what you're paying. In other words, the compensation amount, whether it's in a percentage, dollar amount, or graduated. Now, you don't use graduated or tiered in this area, so it's nothing you have to worry about, but if you do, then you have to describe that. For those that don't know what that means, briefly, all it is a fancy way of breaking up
A very
chunks,
confusing way, I think, personally.
yeah, chunks of the sales price into different percentages of compensation. It can get a little complicated, but in a nutshell, it really is, let's say, a certain amount of compensation for the first 100,000, a different amount for the next 100,000, and then maybe like that. Yes,
It's like two goats and a chicken. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It is. Well, and there are some other MLSs, which is why we have this description field. They have something very unusual. In other words, they use a complete shorthand that doesn't make sense without a cheat sheet. So I'm not going to name any names because I got a camera here. But all I'm saying is we have to accommodate everything. And this is one reason we have this is because that is something nobody really picked a standard to identify. But the last thing we don't want to leave out anything for compensation. So when we get it through data sharing, it's going to occupy that field. When you look at the reports, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. You're going to get all the information relative to what the compensation is, which is why this field exists here. And it only exists there, and I could probably get rid of it too, unless you select gradient. But that's really the purpose there, is just so that all avenues of compensation are covered. So if you need to do...
two goats and a chicken has a line.
Two goats and a chicken will go under the description field. So that's...
Interesting.
That's definitely... So that's something to note. Another thing to note is our manufactured homes. Everybody has them on some plots of land, whether fixed or not. That's something that is disclosed in ours as a yes-no field. You actually have it under a style. That's really one of the other differences. And statuses.
Yes.
I just want to cover the differences. Now we have, under active statuses, we have active, contingent, back on market. I was told that you do not allow or permit contingent status. That's fine. It wouldn't be allowed for eCar members. However, you do have unconditional and conditionally withdrawn. Unconditional being your withdrawn field, which means it's a canceled, it's a torn up agreement, or in a case of, let's say, held, you currently use held, the equivalent would be conditionally withdrawn. Now, for those familiar with RealComp, that's really pretty much exactly the same thing. One of the differences from what you currently have is your held, I think, is still in active status. Is it?
Yeah. It's active, but it's inactive.
Okay, well, does it accumulate days?
Yes, it does.
Okay, this does not, so I don't know if that would be an issue or not, but the way, if it's off market, then it shouldn't accumulate days, but I think maybe that's something we could discuss in the details, because it didn't occur to me that, that's right, held is underactive and being active, and now it might or it might not, it really depends, but you're saying it does accumulate days, okay, so it accrues days, all
We
right.
also we do allow contingency, but it's very strict on what the contingency is for.
What is the contingency?
Contingent upon a buyer's home closing.
Yeah, if you select that field in listing entry, an additional field will pop up called contingency. And there's two values. One is contingent upon the sale of the buyer's home, which MIRealSource the MIRealSource members proper are only allowed to select that one, which we can do the same thing for eCar. And then there's other see agent remarks. Some allow just about anything. Contingent upon the lottery, contingent upon a full moon. Yes.
I have a question back up on the compensation. You had a switch for seller's agents, SAs, I'm assuming are seller's
No.
agents.
Sub-agent.
Fine, same thing. Sub-agent to me.
Well, I just
If
want to
your
make sure that
agency-
you're
no,
not,
I
you're not
understand.
disclosing what
If
your payment is
agency-
between
if
you
your
and your
brokerage
seller.
does not allow a particular one, do you still check the no box every time? That's,
Yes.
I'm just,
It's
I'm
required.
thinking about it, that's what
Yep.
I was looking for.
Yeah, they're all
If
required.
we don't
so-
offer a particular type up there, you still have to check yes or no.
Correct.
Correct.
That would be
Perfect.
required.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for
So-
a lot of them to say no for sub-agent.
Yeah, that was
Just-
kind of my thought.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
I'm
same goes
sorry,
with
I said
transaction
sub,
coordinator.
not sub.
This is realistically, the buyer's agent is really the big one. That's really what you're holding out for in the MLS in the first place. I don't know if there was anything else. Is there anything else?
That
you
was-
wanted
that
to
was-
touch on?
What I was,
Yeah.
just didn't know if you could just go to your particular, if your brokerage only handles
Yeah.
one particular, you just go to that and input. So you do have to eliminate the others. Thank you.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep. Just because they have that required next to them, so of
Okay.
course you should put something
Yeah.
in there.
Now, we do require tax year. So, summer tax year, winter tax year. Reason is, it's not uncommon to, depending on the time of year, that you might have taxes for half of the year, but not the remaining half, that you can report. So it's possible that you got the summer taxes for the year of, and you only have the winter taxes for the previous year. So it's important that that's disclosed, total tax. But I think it's nice. That's why it's nice to actually have that BSAA. You can actually go in there and verify it to you. Yes.
That's the summer, winter, and total. Now, will that autofill?
No.
Those will
No.
not autofill. Okay.
We deliberately do not autofill total. I understand. It's like, well, why not? Well, there's
But-
other taxes.
But the taxes will, if they use that tax autofill, they can pull the taxes, it just won't it won't do the total for them.
Correct. Because it is possible to have summer, winter, village, and I think there might even be some other municipal taxes that, so it really is up to the agent to add it up and report what the total taxes are that you have, or at least that the municipality has on record. Additional documents, seller concessions. This is something that I think I could probably clear up at this point, but what I'm happy to say with this little tiny list is we're able to do, because we have a common vendor, we're able to do a lot of this backfilling and cleaning up behind the scenes, even outside of the GLR data, which is how we currently get your information. So but it's still important that you report, and I'm going to continue to harp on that one, and I'm going to let you know that in my little homework assignment that I have for everyone. So this, I hope to update and periodically, notify and at least come up with a hard data fields that, look, this is what you're going to experience when you touch your listing and when you enter your listing. So currently, when you come February 25th, you have to update a price or something like that, you're going to get hit with these errors. And it's my job to fill in as many of those as we can off of your data. And it all might not come from the GLR. So we're pulling data where it might not have been mapped correctly to the GLR, the last time we're able to correct that. And if it's missing now, that's why we need to know during that time period. And I'll go through that, I'll remind you before we leave. Some other things to note, prior to the cutover date of February 25th, showing time and Instanet, you will continue to access those through your current MLS system. So all your transactions and everything will remain where they're at, and the same with scheduling showings, all of that will stay where it's at. Now come February 25th, these will be converted. All of your transactions will be here in the new MLS system. Nothing will be lost. And it's important that you have everything, other than the fact that you should have all of your transactions, is your associated documents and disclosures. At that point, you're going to need to download those from Instanet and upload them into Paragon. Remember those cool features that we were talking about, having them in HomeSnap, being able to automatically upload those documents in a purchase side transaction from Paragon and Instanet? That's why you have to do this. But that won't be available until February 25th. But what I'm telling you here is nothing will be lost from Instanet. Nothing will be lost from showing time. Just until February 25th, you're going to continue to schedule showings and access your documents and start your transactions within your current MLS system. Not until the 25th. And then at that point, hopefully this is just the last piece that you're going to need to deal with. And I'll have more details on that. Trust me, I will be a friendly nuisance going forward, just reminding you of the things that we need done. One last thing we get questions on, and this is probably one of the things that are most overlooked until it breaks, is syndication and IDX. You want to make sure that your listings are going out where they're supposed to go, whether they're to your website or they're out to publishers like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. We have already taken care of those. So hopefully there won't be any snags or anything like that with where your data is being published. So that's one thing I don't want you to have to worry about, but I just want to address it going forward. So we already, actually for some of the providers, we're already doing that. They're already pulling your data through our data feed, so they really don't have to do anything. So it's easy enough. Okay, what you need to do is, this is really the preparation that we need to deal with in this time of Paragon. Exporting your safe searches and importing your safe searches. And yeah, this sucks, it really does. There's really not an easy way to do this. It's a manual effort, it really is. I hope the effort that we put forward here, I believe, is well worth, based on what I just showed you and more to come, the benefits of this new platform of Paragon. I'll go into the detail on this shortly. Reporting inaccurate or missing data. These are the three things. This is what your homework is until come February 25th. So this is what I want you to focus on. Exporting those saved searches from your current Paragon and start importing them into MIRealSource Paragon. And when I say export and import, I mean pull it up, and then import is manually finding those fields. Now, one thing to note is your contacts will automatically be there. So one advantage of this conversion is we're able to pull your contacts in. So all your contacts up to the date of January 28th will be pulled automatically into the new Paragon. So your contacts will already be there. That won't be a problem. It's just these safe searches. This is what you're going to need to create. So next slide.
So after the 28th, you would need to actually enter them in both places and to keep it current.
No, there won't be ever any dual entry.
Okay.
Nope. what I would suggest you do if you have a new client, any new clients post January 28th, just enter them in the new one. Yeah, I mean, you'll have all your clients up to the 28th. Just enter the new ones, and at any point, you can actually turn one off for the auto notifications and then turn one on. Now, here's the one little caveat about adding a new search and a new client. Yes, they are going to get anything or all of those listings that were currently on the market. They're going to get those again. Now, think about this. How many use a collaboration center, a client connect for their clients? You know, their clients' likes, dislikes, maybes. They go through that. You know, when they reject or reject a property or not like or dislike, I don't even know what is the
Reject.
reject. Yeah, it is reject. Sorry, I don't go in there too often. It's
We know you're
Look
not
at
an
it.
agent, you're the tech guy, we
Yeah.
got it.
So, yeah, if they reject a property, they're not going to get notified about that property. So, this is kind of a reminder. And one thing I would encourage, and after our morning session, it made me think, you know, it's one way you can notify your clients is within the notification that you set up. So you could personalize all of those notifications that go out. So not only does it have your signature, but you could say, hey, we did some upgrades, so you're probably going to get some properties that you looked at before. Now is a good time. Maybe review those again, and then you can like and dislike. It's just a good time for them to maybe look at properties that maybe they initially rejected that they could look at again. So definitely could be, you could look at this for the better in that respect. So that's the best spin that I can come up with on that one. Okay, when I originally looked at the eCar Paragon, you guys you only had codes that identified either the features, the municipality, the county, really made it not user-friendly. So what we were able to do in the last, I would say probably in the last month, we were able to add the descriptions. So we're not computers, we don't just memorize numbers, but we do know what the Charter Township of Flint is or what Genesee County is. The rest of these, we know what, 2 or more baths, 3 or more bedrooms, school district Flint, features, you can see natural gas, basement, all of those can be manually input into the next system. So there's an easy translation for most, if not all of this stuff. Any questions on this?
The best practice is go set your people up in there. You don't have to turn the notifications on right away. It's a good time to follow up with your clients, make that call, let them know that the MLS is upgrading their MLS platform. At that point, they may see a couple listings that they may have viewed before. But what I did is I put all my contacts in first, then turned them all on at one time after I had enough time to notify everyone. So don't be afraid to do that as well. Yeah, that's why we give you that time period.
Yep. Yes.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. You're saying that in the new system, I have to go in and for each client, I'm going to recreate the search. I'm not going to export it from this one, like by the click of a button and have it.
No.
So recreate,
No.
basically.
Now, this is probably the one piece that is the most difficult to translate, are saved searches, and that really comes down to maybe this is something we got contacts. No, you didn't get that on the last change, so we're in contacts, so that's one less thing that you have to deal with. These saved searches, the way the fields occupy each MLS, they're just too different. So even if we did map these over like data, you would still have to verify that information. And it's just better for you to actually go in and input that information. It's another way to kind of look at what you have as saved searches. And look at this as saved searches, not as per client. And you might want to do it that way because there might be a lot of saved searches that you just don't use anymore. So it might make sense to do it through the clients and go top down through the clients, and what you have as saved searches, you can actually go in the client manager and open up that saved search within the client manager. So yes.
When you say that you're going to be doing the as far as contacts, now is that all the information from the contacts as far as like notes and all that?
Correct. Because yours is identical to ours. Unlike the listing data,
Yeah.
which is completely different, the contact data, we occupy the same fields exactly.
So
It's 1 to
technically,
1.
they could go in and actually in the notes put down what they're looking for.
Well, you could. I mean, I think that's really what the notes are for.
That
is really
that way, whenever it goes over, it's not a big deal. All the information as far as what
Yep.
criteria they're going to be using.
That's an interesting idea,
That
but
is a good
remember,
idea.
but you're still going to have to manually
Oh,
input
you're
the
still
search.
But you'll still have it already there, you're right.
But
That
you'll
is very
have it. That
convenient.
way, you don't have to go through
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
search and write it down or.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So I'm
Now-
sorry, I know that part is painful. I had to do my contacts and my searches, and I just did screenshots and literally saved them all, and then opened up the new program and then reset it off. It was a little bit easier for me that way, but it's still a pain. That's the one thing. The numbers, as Brian was saying, now we're using identifiers, the state identifiers, so they'll all be consistent, but the numbers in your Paragon now are different, so they would be different properties, so there was no way to really
Yeah.
match those up.
Now, one thing to realize, the numbers that we use for county, municipality, or that's our area, we adopted what the county uses as identifiers for the county. So each of the areas, you could look at the number and know what county that area occupies. So that's one aid that we have. So let's say, for instance, 49. Our area code would be 49, and then the other identifier for Flint Township. So that's how our system identifies them numerically. But you don't need to know the numbers. You really don't. You can actually, as long as you put in the county for any lookups, it will narrow those lists down. So if you put in Genesee County in the search, it's only going to give you things for Genesee County. And that applies to the municipality and the school district. You're only going to get schools that are in that county. You're only going to get municipalities in that county. Make sense?
What about the setup? Like if I've gone in and tweaked my setup for like my residential search or my residential reports, are those setups going to be the same, or am I going to have to recreate?
Now you're going to, if you customize the order of your fields, yeah, you're going to have to do that.
Redo it again?
Yeah, you're going to have to redo it. But if you liked what we did to yours on the residential, then you're going to be happy with what we have out of the box. You're going to do relatively minimum alterations. Like we move fields like this listing visibility, lesser used, that, you know, down on the bottom that you don't really.
Association, nobody searches by association, so we move that way to the bottom.
So
You'll find a lot
you'll
of
see
those.
our default search. It might, for the most part, do what you need, and you might have to maybe move a field or two up, and then that's it. So, but you know, look at it beginning next week. This is what we're asking you to do. You got your new car, okay? You're thinking about. You need to at least take it for a drive. Okay, back to the corrections button, and I can't harp on this enough. As much as I want you to bring over your saved searches and everything, you know, that's definitely for your benefit, but for everyone's benefit, it's important that these fields are accurate. Now, I'm very confident that what we got from you is spot on, with maybe a very few amount of exceptions. But I see these fields are probably the most important fields in the entire MLS system because they're location-based. If they're not in the right location, it's not going to be found. So even if information is incorrect, if it's not in the right location, it's not going to be found. If somebody searches by their area, municipality, mail, city, school district, or mapping a geolocation, it's not going to be found. So it's important that you look at your own listings and I'm going to repeat this one. This is going to be a typical thing for me to say over and over, is you know your listings better than anybody else. Let me know what's missing. And you can do that with that corrections button. Just hit it on your own listings. Just click on it. Just say, hey, this is missing. It's in eCar. It's not in here.
And by the way, the easiest way to check your own listings is if you just go to your market monitor, click on My Info, find your listings, click on the number, and just view your listings over. So they'll all be right in front of you. You can go through every one of your listings. And then the correction button he's referring to is located on every single listing. So if something doesn't look like, we want to hear it right away. As Brian said, he thinks he's got it pretty perfect. But if you notice something on your listings, click that correction button so that we can look at it before the go live date, so that if we can streamline any problems that arise. Also, that corrections button, if you find something like you just showed this property, it's 2-bedroom and the agent has it listed as a 4-bedroom, remember, you're anonymous. What it does is it just simply sends it to your board so that they can check on it. I had an agent in a local neighborhood. Every house I showed was a 2-bedroom. He had them all listed as 4 bedrooms, which was not so helpful. So all I did was click the corrections button, and it just submits it to the board, and then they can check on it. So, but it doesn't say, oh, you ratted me out or anything. Corrections buttons are really actually very helpful.
A shower curtain in the middle of the room.
It counts. So that's divides it in half.
So yeah, that's one, the corrections button, and just logging in. I am just going to harp on you about that, and really moving those saved searches over. That's your homework. That and reporting errors. Hey, you want to log in? Okay. You will get this. You don't have to write it down. If you write it down, great, that's fine. But you are going to get notified repeatedly where you're going to be logging in. And at some point, it's going to be on your website, so you'll be able to click on that. We're able to keep your logins the same. They're identical to what you're currently using in eCar. When you initially log in, that will be your password. Again, you will get this in an email notification and a notification in Paragon. So I will try to hit you from every avenue as far as how to get into this new system. Once you enter that, you will have an opportunity to change the password. You could put in the same password that you use for eCar Paragon, provided that it's 8 characters. And I don't know what your current requirements are, but there's a reason that we chose 8, and I could thank Dawn for this one, is 8 is the minimum requirement for any of the apps that work hand in hand, like Showing Time. The Showing Time app requires 8 characters minimum. So that was really at least the minimum requirement. That way you can just keep your password the same, at least for real estate related stuff. I would say you keep your bank account another password and maybe your primary email another password. That's just me thinking like a security person, but I can't harp enough about maintaining passwords, yes, but you should not have them all the same. When it comes to real estate, your access to this, that's fine, yes.
Okay, quick question. Monday,
Yes.
I turn on the eCar system that I am familiar with. What's going to tell me I can go to the other one?
Well, I will have a notice in there that'll say, hey, Parallel's up and running. If you click on the link in this pop-up window, it'll take you there.
There will be a, that's what I'm asking. How
Yes.
are we going to know to try
Yes.
Oh yeah,
the system?
if you log into Paragon, you will not forget, because there's going to be one of many
Bells and
notices
whistles.
that I will have out there reminding you. And just so you know, we know if you don't log in. The board knows if you don't log in.
Big brother is watching.
Yes.
Brian, can I log into the new system and also the old system at the same time?
Absolutely, that's what Parallel is. Those two systems. And remember, it's still business as usual in the current eCar MLS system. The new one right now, we're kicking the tires, we're driving it around, we're reporting issues. So exporting your saved searches. That's what this period is for. You're still going to be scheduling showings, creating transactions within your current version of
E-car
Paragon.
system. So we will not enter anything
No,
until the 25th.
correct. Correct.
So everything on the old
Yes,
till the 25th, except we have to
right.
redo all of our saved searches.
He
Yep.
took notes. That was good.
There you go.
Well, it just,
No, and
I've had
everything
conversions that all of a sudden I didn't know where
Yeah.
I was at. And
I
that's,
understand.
you know, and you've got 15 minutes to meet a client
Yeah,
and you don't know where you're at.
I don't be that agent, okay? So-
Yeah,
What I'm showing you here right now, again, I am going to remind you over and over and over. You're going to have a cheat sheet that you can print out. You're going to have this notice come Monday reminding you to log in. Right now, my motivation for Monday is I just want you to log in. I just want you to successfully get into the new MLS system.
you know, through tax data, we can find where you live.
Very good
Just want you to
point.
All right.
understand that,
I will.
I'll be a gray Ford
extra
Escape in your
incentive.
driveway, yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah.
touche.
The gray Ford Escape in your
Yeah.
driveway, look for me. So, yeah.
This better go really smooth, Brian.
Yeah. All right,
I think she had a question.
yes.
I had a question. I've never entered in a listing because our office does it.
Okay.
Okay. So do they have all the new stuff, or does the office staff, are they gonna be trained on putting in, you know, the new things for our listings, or?
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're staff, you know, you're an admin, secretary, whatever, you're getting the same level of training as an agent. And this really comes down to, I don't care whether you're licensed or not. Whatever you are doing in e-car, we are making sure that you're able to do in this new MLS system too.
There's actually
we're
some
just-
added benefits too with the new data form that we showed you. I had back-to-back listing appointments and I wanted to get one live right away. I had went ahead and I filled out the data sheet with as much information as I had. You'll also have an app that you can actually just fill in the listing price after you have determined with the seller what it is. You can still click that button even on your phone, and your admin will be able to see your data sheet and be able to make that listing live on your behalf as well. So admins have a special functionality called Assume Identity, so she could actually go in and actually hit the save after reviewing it, because many brokers also have the policy that the admin reviews it before it goes live, so they can actually see it and then hit the save on your behalf too. What's nice about that is I had a vacant piece of land that was $47,000. Well, when the admin was putting it in, she accidentally hit an extra zero, so it was $470,000 for this little small. The nice thing is they're pulling it right from your data sheet, so it's the information. There's no chance they rekeyed it incorrectly. They're pulling it from your data. You can actually save it as a partial. They can go in, even add photos for you at that time, and then make it live on your behalf. So, and it tracks that they did it, you didn't, which is nice in case you have to go back and ask them a question like, you know, how did this happen?
Yeah, if you're an office or a brokerage that does not permit any listing entry or editing, that same capability is in here too. There are a few brokers that they do not allow the agents any level of entry and editing, and whatever you're doing today, we can do in this version of Paragon. So that really comes down to the board staff just setting it appropriately. Okay, any other questions? Just wanted to hit on the classes that we're going to be bringing. A big part of what MIRealSource is providing is education and training. So what we provide is, you know, even the basics. We go into all of our products, but we go further than that. We go into classes that touch on, specialized classes that touch on lead generation, social media and real estate, mobile agent with HomeSnap, marketing with Market Stats. So we have these more specialized classes that really try to put maybe one or more products into a certain category. So for instance, lead generation, that actually covers a piece with a piece of Cloud CMA for lead capture. So there's an embedded piece that you could put from Cloud CMA on a website or share in social media that generates this automatic CMA. And it gives a potential client a quick and dirty CMA, so comparables around a subject property, and you as the agent get their contact information, their address. So you're getting somebody that is potentially interested just off this little program. And that's just one of a few programs that are covered within that lead generation. Social media covers like our single property website, how to post on social media, how that works with HomeSnap, how you can promote your listing in HomeSnap, and in a way promote yourself. And it really, these are classes that help you expand your business, and that's really was the motivation. So we went above and beyond teaching you just how to use the products, but how to apply them in a real world. And you know, our instructors, they're agents, they're active agents. They're doing this. They're a testament to a lot of these products.
Colleen, are you working then with Kim and staff here to set the dates on these things?
Every time we release something new, our goal is in front of you, right as that release is happening. So when Cloud CMA comes out, we want to come out and show you how to set up your preferences, how to make it easy, how to put it in line. And so that is the goal, that every time we release something new to you and you get that notification, you're going to see my big hair up here going, hey, this is how you use it as well. So the goal is for every new thing that we roll out, we'll be here to show you how to use it.
Yeah, it could be confusing if we just turn on everything and just throw it in your lap. And it's like, where do I start? We don't want you to feel like that.
We've been there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've been
we
there
don't want to take
already.
you there again, because you know where he lives.
Yeah, I can find it through tax.
So no, you don't want to be there. You want to, when we release something, it should be, this is the highlighted you know, piece of the month. You know, something that you should be focused on and learn that product. Not which one do I start with. We try to give you a structured order.
Not knowing about parameters with the first release of this.
Yeah, that
cost us 300 members.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and I know you guys have
that
been
can't go on.
change.
Well, you know, what I hope that you're getting out of this is a way to get those members back.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm just telling you, it can't happen again.
I understand. So. I agree, and I hopefully, you know, I have to tell you, I've been out here for most of the classes. We've gotten really good feedback on just the simple changes that we've made. I think once we get to the next step where you see why we made these changes, I think when you can use programs, Brian was talking about Cloud CMA, but just the things that you can do with these new programs. This CMA was a CMA I just did in November. It literally took me 4 minutes to create what you see here. It's really done for you, but we're going to show you how to set it up for your company. We'll show you how to, with one click, bring in the BSAA record. We'll show you how to include things like market stats. Brian was talking about market stats before. Here I was able to show my seller very quickly that what was going on in her marketplace. We were down 55% in inventory. There was nothing to show. So very quickly I showed her last year our average sales price was $174. This year it's $229. We listed her house. I'm happy to say we had one showing and it sold for $240 cash, which was like $5 grand higher than we had it listed for. But showing her what was going on in her marketplace made all the difference. So literally, and you can put in custom pieces. The number one thing I always get asked on a listing appointment, well, where are you going to put my home? What sites are you going to be on? So this was something I made in like 5 minutes on Publisher and just popped it in. Every CMA, it's right here. It'll bring in each property, all the interior photos. They have an interactive presentation mode, but again, it takes just minutes, but it looks like you spent hours. You can add your marketing pieces in, your marketing plan, but we'll show you how to do that. We'll show you how to make it a lot easier.
Yep, and this is just one product. So you can see we got more to release, but you need to understand how it works, how to apply it, how to get the most out of these products rather than just, here you go, you know, fend for yourself. That's not the best return on investment. It's not. So we're here to stay. One thing I want to say is we're going to do our best for this. This is always a challenging thing to switch systems, but I hope I hope what we presented is, even with what I believe, the small heartaches that might happen with this change, you got some great benefits at the end of this. So this is for the benefit of your membership. This is the future of your MLS. So, and again, you talk about regaining members, this is how you do it. This is how you expand all of these services. Big benefit. So I think that's our time, but is there any other questions before? All right, stay tuned to be politely annoyed by me periodically in your MLS system.
And if we don't see Brian again, we don't know you.
Yeah. And Brian is not my real name.
Yeah. You notice he didn't give his last name. We can get that though, that's easy, so.
Like this a lot, yeah. It looks like it's not as nearly as been slits and curls and film.
And we were talking about the IDX and everything, so they gave us, I got them, I have social media changes on MLS.
Who's the vendor?
You added some good love.
Oh, they're already getting that. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.